Hello guys, today we're gonna have a really nice game between two amazing world-class players. Here we have herO, blue Protoss guy, and his opponent is red Zerg Reynor. And both of these players are extremely well known, they're super accomplished, have so many achievements under their belts. herO is currently the best Protoss player and he's probably gonna stay in that rank for a while because there's just not so much competition amongst other Protoss players. Maybe Max Pax, a Danish Protoss player, is the only guy who is catching up with herO, but he hasn't still shown any results on offline events yet, while herO has just a lot of them. And Reynor is probably the second best Zerg player in the world right now, or maybe even actually the best Zerg in the world right now, because Cyril is in the Finnish army, he is not currently present, and I would still rank Reynor slightly higher than Dark and other Zerg players like Don Raygo. But yeah, recently Reynor had like a really poor performance on his stage in GSL, but it was, you know, happens from time to time with many players. Can't really blame him because, well, that happens even with the best of StarCraft 2 pros. So here we're gonna watch a game from WTL, this team league, and they just faced in a best of one match on the map called Posyuv. This is one of my favorite maps of the current map pool because you have so many like interesting places here. So for example, there's a gold base at this location. You also have some gold chunks in your main base, which are going to be expiring really quickly, so you need to expand also just slightly faster than normal. But at the same time, again, you have this super safe expansion and you can go for the first nexus. You don't really need to worry about any early aggression, and this makes that map really special because, you know, most of the map in the history of StarCraft 2 were pretty similar in their layout. You would always open up in a similar way, well, on the majority of maps. Maybe not on all of them, but maybe on like 90% of them. But here, the situation is just slightly different. You have a lot of interesting options to consider from the very early game. You can go for something cheesy and tricky because you probably know that your opponent is going to be you know, rather greedy in the beginning, and you can also just play that way as well. And you can also, as a Zerg player, for example, you can go for a real quick third base, or maybe even attempt to take the gold base. But this is not the case for Reynor. He's just trying a normal play style, just a normal base, and slowly expanding from now on and taking his third base at 2.40-minute mark. This is a super standard build order for the Zerg race. herO on the other side opens with the Stargate, also something that we commonly see in Legacy of the Void. It's probably the best build order actually because, well, it gets you nice scouting with oracles or phoenixes. It also safeguards you with the same oracles or void rays against any kind of roach pushes, any kind of link floods early on, and this is just like a very useful unit, I mean oracle, because you can use that unit throughout the whole game. You can use revelations, you can get a lot of scouting, you can just do pretty much anything, even just the stasis traps. They're so useful. And for the Zerg race, I think this map is just really good for a lurker player, right? Because there are just so many positions for your lurkers to capitalize on, right? You can just take this narrow choke points and place them there, or you can just go for lurker drops as well on the main base. You just try to set them somewhere around this location where you can just guard those entrances to the base. But yeah, Reynor, I'm not sure if he's going to be doing what I'm suggesting because obviously he's much better than I am, and probably my builders aren't going to be working out as well. Even though I'm a Grandmaster player myself, I'm just nowhere near his godlike level. And he's going for the scout, doesn't seem to see the oracle so far, right? So I think he just flew past it, and he's also not going to be able to catch the Stargate and the fleet beacon from herO. That could mean two things. One is actually going for carriers early on, and also that could be a Tempest rush. Tempests are pretty good nowadays. You can actually use them to kite queens and force Zerg player to commit to you know, corruptors and spire tech, which is not something that you really want to do as a Zerg player because they cost a lot of money, and then you need to build a lot of roaches, a lot of links, banelings, and also corruptors, and that's a lot of costs that you have to bear. And at the same time, you also need to defend. You also need to position your army, you know, on good locations, and just this is just a real mess for the Zerg player. Like Zerg race, as a Zerg player myself, you know, The best case scenario is when you have to build one unit, like Lynx or Banelings, and sometimes like Hydras and Banelings, or like Hydras and Lurkers, and you just don't really care about anything else at all. So this is like the best scenario, because in all the cases you have to calculate the amount of supply you need for each specific task. You know, sometimes you can just build too many Banelings and you're gonna be trading very inefficiently, or sometimes you have too many Roaches and you just don't have enough Banelings and you have a lot of you just have a big waste of supply. Sometimes you overbuild Corruptors and they are just not that useful in general. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, but hero indeed goes for the Tempests, and two of them are already flying on the map. They're gonna be taking down that Overlord, and also maybe the fourth gold hatchery. Reynor is trying to secure that, and yeah, I think it's not gonna be able to complete here, but hero actually seemed like for a moment that he was actually gonna go for the third base, but yeah, and he just stops to get rid of that hatchery. And now Reynor is adding his Spire, because Hydras, even though they seem like a good choice, they're not gonna be able to follow those Tempests, and there are like some positions on the map, like here, I believe, or maybe here, that's for certain, like some positions on the map where you just cannot catch those flying bastards. And yeah, even though like those Queens were still able to shoot down that one, you know, it's still gonna be a world of troubles for Reynor if he chooses another attack. And hero is really mismicro in this game, to be honest, because yes, he's distracted here at the third location of his. He's trying to defend against like a small attack from Reynor's side. There's just a couple of Lynx and 4 Roaches, but already enough shield batteries and also one single cannon to have that extra bit of protection on the third base, which is extremely vulnerable right now because, well, you know, Tempests, they cost quite a bit, sorry, and they also take quite a while to build, and you need something to protect the third base, otherwise you're just gonna be crushed by the slings and you're gonna be locked on 2 bases, which is not something that you want to be having in a long game, right? So Reynor is now just trying to secure his 4th base. This is a problem for him right now because there is this upgrade that makes those balls go from blue to orange, and now they just do more damage to structures. And yeah, it's really tough for Reynor at the moment. He's losing queens, but again, he's just buying time, and he knows really well that at the moment he has Corruptors, those Tempests are going to be going back, and there's going to be no more threats in the future. And he actually loses the hatchery. That's quite a lot of cost, and you can see at the resource loss tab that's been some damage done by hero. I still think that's just not really enough so far, because Tempest, they're really useless at one point, at least until Zerplayer is gonna be having some Broodlords or some massive units. But yeah, for now I think this investment didn't really pay off, but at least he got something on the map, right? So it's not really that bad, but probably he was looking for something more in this game. So Corruptors already are on the field, and you can't really deal with them with Tempest, so that's why he's building the Void Rays. And it's actually a good call for him, because even if he loses against Reynor's ground army, he can still have some of the Void Rays to clear everything out, and this is gonna be enough for defense on the 4th base. So hero just needs to be very careful, because Reynor is probably gonna be attempting to attack him very soon. He's gonna be trying to break him. There are quite a lot of workers on the gold base already, so Reynor is set really nicely. He has a solid economy going on, and he's also taking the 5th base, which is gonna be working and bringing money real soon. But so far, I would say that hero is also holding really strong in this game. Even though he didn't do that much damage, he's also taking his 4th base, he's also making a solid army, and it feels like he's going for the Sky Toss actually. It's really hard to tell right now because there's just a mix of everything, but he's also adding the 2nd Sky upgrades, Sky attack for these units, and also 5 adepts for some reason. Maybe they were just used for the defense at the 3rd base some time ago, and now he's just going to be trying to do some harassing on the 5th base or 4th base. But Reynor's map control is just really good, so you can spot that with Spawning Link, and he's also going to be trying to fly with Corruptors, maybe just, looking to chip away at hero's Tempest. And this is like the most vulnerable time for hero at the moment, because he spends so much money on different units and also on the mothership, which is often jokingly called a waste of 400, which is kind of true, to be honest, right? It used to be so. Because this mothership, it costs a lot of cash, but it doesn't really provide that much value. After the rework, it's got maybe somewhat better, but I still feel like this is not the best unit in this game. So the Protoss race And now Reynor is going to commit to just a gigantic wave of Banelings, and this is going to be a very massive attack with Queens, Ravages, Links, Corruptors, just every single possible unit that Reynor now has is going to be trying to swarm that base. And also this Link run by, oh my god, this hole in the wall is going to be a world of troubles for here right now. This is a big misplay by him. Protoss are doing the healing right now, and those Banelings are just destroying the hero's economy at the same time. There is just a whole problem going on the main base. He's just losing so much there, and this is not really looking good for Hero. He lost the main engagement because there were just too many Corruptors, and they were just going back to get the healing from the Queens, and he also lost so many probes. Pretty much 2 bases destroyed, only 30 workers left, and he's just trying to hold on to his life, and it doesn't really look like that's going to be happening. Many Queens there still, and should probably just disengage right now, maybe try to save his mothership at least, but it also goes down, and now only Void Rays are left. There are no more transfusions from the Zerg side as well though, and he can maybe try to focus down those Queens, but it doesn't really matter when we have that such economy difference right now for these players. Yeah, obviously Hero is still gonna have some units left, but it doesn't really feel like that's gonna be a factor anymore in this game. He also needs to hold this wall somehow. He needs to place a Hodder here, and yeah, he's also making Archons, by the way, and maybe he's actually going to be able to stabilize here, which I really have many doubts about, but actually it seems to be working out pretty well. But there are Corruptors popping, and there are going to be many more of them in the future. So far only like, let's just see the number, it's going to be around 10, 7 more to come, and yeah, it's going to be really tough. And Hero is just trying to finish the game right here, right now, because, well, it just makes sense, because he just cannot afford to rebuild. He's just not going to have enough time. A couple of Archons are going to be very useful against Corruptors because of the splash damage, if he actually manages to land that shot, all those shots, but it doesn't really feel like that. One Archon is going to go now, he's dead, and yeah, just too many Corruptors from Reynor's side, and I think it's going to be a GG for the blue Protoss player here. Very nice attack by Reynor, really well executed with that run by with 30 links or so, and also really nice hold in the beginning against all those armies and all those Tempests from Hero. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little cast by me. Subscribe if you want to see more StarCraft content. Have a nice day, and see you next time.